I believe that reality is always different from what we actually see on the television, and indeed media has created a huge revolution in the entire world. But it's very important to understand that whatever you see on the television, where is it coming from? I believe that when it comes to women empowerment in Pakistan, when I travel abroad, people have different opinions about it. But as I represent the women of my country, I would really like to highlight that currently the women of Pakistan are very much educated, very much career oriented, at the same time hold values of starting a family, being part of a family. So I think that now women are seen as a resource in the country rather than how it was a long time back. And there are a lot of opportunities there in Pakistan that allow women to freely speak, to come forward, portray their talents, and it is actually a huge achievement for the country in itself, because women are huge contributors of the development taking place in Pakistan. When it comes to initiatives for women empowerment or any other cause in any country in the world, I believe that the bigger change must start on a grassroots level. For example, to empower women in any country, I don't think that the government should take initiatives, but families in itself should take initiatives and believe that yes, our women are an asset to the family other than just the men. Yes, this ideology has been there for a very long time, because we are an agricultural country, that men work in the field and women, girls, young girls were seen more as a burden because they were to be married off later on, and all the dowry process that the father had to go through. But I think now times are changing. Women are coming forward. Families are ready to educate their daughters, which is a huge change. And we all can see after women graduate, they actually end up to be better professionals in any field that they go for. And at the same time, there are a lot of initiatives being taken place in the social sector too that highlight the importance of the contribution of women. So I think it's a great forward step for us, and we are certainly working on it. I think coming from a Muslim Pakistani background, living in Pakistan, growing up in Pakistan has been somehow very fascinating for me, because what we are taught and what we experience are actually two different poles, and it's always great to debate on what's going on in the present moment. I was born a disabled person and I come from a landlord background. My father has also served in the Pakistani army. So I think I had a lot of things to wonder about, talk about and experience when I was growing up. Growing up in a landlord background, certainly it does make you encounter with a lot of things such as gender discrimination, and I have somehow identified some of those. But at the same time, I've seen some huge differences where I see men actually going against the gender discrimination and supporting women, and somehow women are against women. So it's always very fascinating to actually see what's going on rather than believing on what happened a long time back. And if you ask me, my story has been somehow very boring when I was born. I mean, no story with the disability, just straightforward born with a disability. When people question me, they expect me to give a very crispy, interesting answer, but somehow it's not possible. I wish I could prepare a story and say that it was a parachute failure or something, but no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. Now, when I was born, I was disabled, and I had deformity in my both lower limbs. And when I was growing up, my parents took a huge initiative of actually sending me off to a normal school, which was, I think, a great step on their part. When I was in my 10th standard, that is O-levels, that is the time when we had the flood crisis in Pakistan. And when I saw everybody doing something about it, I really felt the urge to contribute to. I believe it was my patriotism and it was the citizenship that I felt that yes, I owe something back to the society. So at that moment, I just questioned myself that what is that something that I can do, because it's very important to identify your resources that you already have. Rather than identifying the resources of your neighbor, I think one should just concentrate on yourself. So at that point I said, okay, I can't walk, I can't physically go there and volunteer with the affectees, but I can do something sitting over here. So one thing that really clicked me was writing, and as I had a passion of reading for a very long time, I thought, why not give it a shot and write something. I had also written some articles in some newspapers and some poems. So I gave it a shot and I started writing a book, which I completed in a couple of months, and I had no clue of how to get it published. I had never come across any author in my life. I had no idea how things worked back there in Pakistan, so it was a very bumpy ride about how to get the book published, but somehow I did. And the book was actually sold. The book was sold to actually generate funds for the flood victims, because I believe that we really can't rely on donations and grants for a very long time. We really need to have a sustainable source of income that can actually help. So I went door to door selling my book, telling everybody that we don't need donation, we don't need grants, we need your support. So this is our product, you can buy this product, and in return whatever you're giving us goes to the flood victims. And that was actually quite helpful. It earned me a lot of recognition, it earned me a lot of appreciation. I'm so thankful for all those people who really took me forward, helped me promote that book, helped me sell that book, and actually made the money go to the right people. And I think that was the start of the realization that I think that was the start of the realization that yes, there is something that I can do too, there is something that I can contribute to. And so began a journey of this amazing world by the name activism, youth activism. As I was young, I always kept an eye out for any event, anything that was going on that I could actually go and work on. I got selected for a couple of events abroad. I represented Pakistan and India and Sri Lanka and a couple of others. And at every point I felt that yes, you know, now I'm worthy because I'm working for a cause. Now I feel that yes, I'm in the right direction. I'm working for my people, I'm working for the world, I'm working for the harmony and peace of the world. So it was more like a very self-awakening, a spiritual awakening phase for me. After that, after the book writing and all, I went to college. While I was in my college, I always, since childhood, I always wanted to act. And this has always been in my family. My family always treats me like a kid, and every time I'm asking them for something, then they'll be like, okay fine, she's acting. So it hasn't been much of an advantage to me, but at the same time I feel that the way a person can express different emotions can be very, very impactful and powerful for someone else. So this was one form of expression, theatre or acting or being on stage, that I really wanted to experience and see how this can change. Naturally I couldn't come on stage because there weren't much roles for me as being on a wheelchair, but I thought why not, let's give it a shot as a producer or a director or a script writer. At the same time I also felt that a lot of people, there were a lot of young girls that weren't being given a lot of chances to come up front and try anything, experience anything. So we started this small production company, a theatre production company in my college by the name Creative Valley Productions, and we started holding these meetings and capacity building, tiny workshops, and trying to help young people understand what they're made for, what is their talent, what is their skill, and actually guiding them to reach up to the point where they can actually go and polish their skills. After that, Creative Valley also went forward doing some great youth empowerment projects and events. For example, we held a global chain makers youth camp, and then we also did a youth activism summit where we could actually call young people and empower them to start their own organizations, take their own initiatives. And now we really feel that young people are really up to it, they really want to go forward and work. But what's not working is the previous generation, I think, and we really feel that there is a gap that has started to develop in both of these generations. So we're actually trying to focus on that and trying to start a project in which we can make parents work with their children and it would also help restore the values, the culture, and create harmony, and actually make children teach their parents about what iPhone and Facebook is. So that is an initiative for now that I will certainly take care of once I'm back. About my books, I feel that literature is something very close to me because it is something that has empowered me. Literature has always been there for me, made me identify my creativity. So I wrote one book. My first book was actually a classical novel. It was by the name A Story of Mexico. And in that age, as a young girl, I believe I was pretty much inspired by Mexico, and I had seen a lot of Antonio Banderas movies, and I always had a huge fascination for what Mexican culture was like, and of course Shakespeare too. So I actually amalgamated the both, and I created a product that was A Story of Mexico. We're actually trying to do a theatrical performance now to bring the characters live on stage. My second book was totally different from what it was with the previous one. My second book was about this young girl who's going to turn 16 in a couple of days, and she's trying to make her life perfect. And this book is mostly about youngsters, of how they get affected with the media, with the external mediums of with the way people express opinions, how they adopt opinions, and how their thought process works in different phases of life. So the first book is the first book in the Perfect Situation series. That is the name of my second book, and the second book is actually in the series. I've just published my first one in March 2013. Second book is due probably by the end of this year. We're also planning to launch this book in India, which I'm very excited for. And so this book is about ages, of how young people get into these different mindsets because of age. So the first book is about turning 16, the second book is about turning 18, and the third book is about turning 20. So I'm pretty much looking forward to that, and I am working on some other literary projects as well, which I'm very excited to launch very soon. I think at some point in life I felt that it's very important to go forward and start addressing people about my experiences, my ventures, and actually help them to not make those mistakes that I did, so that they can actually enjoy their productivity on a totally different level. So I went forward in the training industry to become a part of it and learn different methods of how I can train people coming from any walks of life and help them improve their lives. So far I've worked with young people and a few corporate clients too, and I think it has been a wonderful journey. What I really believe in is that for young people, I hold a workshop for them that is by the name Let's Get Mad. That has been one of the most famous ones so far, because I really believe that young people should believe that there's a bigger world than the world that we live in, and it's very important to identify your resources, very important to have your own opinions, your beliefs, and it's very important to look at things from a very different angle, and at the same time it's very important to make a difference. So it's called Let's Get Mad, MAD, make a difference. And this workshop so far has been taking place in different institutes of Pakistan, also in a couple of events. I also had the chance to give a bit of this workshop in the Re-Lead by Blue Ribbon Movement recently in Bangalore, the event that I'm here for. And I really feel that the content in the workshop really helps young people believe in themselves and believe that yes, they can do it, and yes, they are special, and there is something out there that is larger than life that they can go and achieve. And of course it's benefiting for them, for their community, for their society, for the country, for the world. So I think Let's Get Mad is certainly one of the things that I'm really proud of, and I am all set to take it on different levels in India and Pakistan and all over the world. Other than that, I believe in motivation is a byproduct of anything that you tell anybody. I believe a one-on-one conversation with anybody, me and you, would obviously give you a bit of a motivation to go, get it, live this life, laugh. So I don't think I would refer myself as a motivational speaker, but rather than as a trainer, because I believe in giving out skills and helping people apply them to make their lives better, and motivation actually turns out to be a byproduct. So I believe that's how it should be. I had the privilege to come to India 2 years back as well. I was in Delhi and Gurgaon, and as I come from an army background and a landlord background, people are very possessive about the women. So my family did have some concerns about me traveling abroad and to India. considering what we actually get to see on the television. But I was very much persistent, and I said that I will not actually go for what other people are saying, and rather than go out there and experience myself and then come up with my own opinions. So I was very lucky that my father allowed me. He was very kind enough to send my mother along with me to assist me in my different personal needs, or if anywhere I need help. I think my previous trip to India was an immense delight, because in every way, the moment I landed in India, people were so welcoming. The moment we told them that we're from Pakistan, they were even more interested to know about us and how lives were there. And one thing that I've really come across is that the moment we tell somebody we're from Pakistan, they actually go like, oh yes, my so-and-so was also from Pakistan. Where are you from? So the beauty of the matter is that they are immediately developing these connections. They are immediately going into similarities and how we're connected. And that is indeed beautiful in its own way. They don't go like, oh yeah, long time back this happened and the war. They don't go into that stuff. And that actually really fascinates me and makes me want to come back again and again. The love and hospitality that I've received from Bangalore, I think I'm stuffed with love and compassion, and it feels great to actually be in a part of the world that is actually your own. And once you're in India, you actually feel as if you're home. You're there, the faces are so similar, they speak the same language, the spices. I've had some great time having the South Indian cuisine, and it just makes me want to come back again and again and experience this delight. So I think so far it's very important to go forward and experience what is out there rather than believing on someone else's views. That's just my opinion. In conclusion, I would like to make a confession, and that is that I mostly bunked all my Pak Studies classes, and I don't watch news channels, so I really don't know what comes on the television, and I'm actually thankful for that, and I really don't know what other people have to say about it. At the same time, I have been more lucky in actually coming to India and experiencing the way people live here and how people have views about Pakistan, and somehow they are quite different from what we get to hear from people who've had no connection at all. If you ask me, in the dimension of my limited knowledge, if you ask me that if there is something that can be done and it should be done, that would be, it's very important to live in the present moment, to look around and see where are we standing today. A long time back, what started the partition and all the unfortunate events that were followed, those people aren't even there anymore. Yes, their opinions are, their ideologies are, and we respect that. But it's very important to live in this era of time and concentrate on the technology, the education, the effective methods of communication, and look into the future of how we can make this part of the world a better place for our future generations and the world. And frankly speaking, if we start believing in today, and if we look around and see where we're standing and which way we would want to go, I think that will make a huge difference. That would certainly make people understand that we don't want our children to go through what our ancestors did. We don't want that. We want to give them a more peaceful world. So if that is what you believe in, I think you will instantly come up with a solution. You will instantly look around for better ways of connection. Because developing a connection is, I think, the first step to develop peace. So I really feel that it's very important for all the people involved, and especially local people of India and Pakistan, to give it a thought, to come up with their own opinions, to actually take initiatives on their own. Forget the governments. You're the people. It's all about you. It's not about who controls you, it's about you. So I think forget your dictators, forget your leaders, become your leaders. And ask yourself, what do I want for my children? Do I want my children to grow up hating a totally different country because of what happened so many years ago? Or do I want my children to believe in harmony, peace, change, and opportunity? It's very important to look at each other as opportunity and look into the future. That's what I believe. And on a more practical level, if you ask me, young people today are far more active in India and Pakistan. I've had the privilege to work with both when it comes to peace building in India and Pakistan. And I really feel that on a practical note, these exchanges between India and Pakistan is creating a lot of difference. When people from India go to actually live in Pakistan, they feel the difference and they come back with a totally different mindset, and vice versa. Just like I'm here in Pakistan, I'm here in India, and not just me, there are so many other people out there who've had these exchanges and they have a totally different view about the whole thing. So it becomes really fascinating. So I really want for all of us to take these initiatives in our hearts and look into it, because we can't change what happened so many years ago or what happened yesterday, but we can change what would happen tomorrow if we take the right initiative in this present moment.